you a fan of the Dragon Ball Super card game? If so, check out QueenCityGaming.com for sealed product, singles, and more. Just use promo code MafubaJar-10 to save 10% off your order every time. Welcome back to the Mafuba Jar, where you've been sealed away for more Dragon Ball Super content. Today, we're going to focus on another deck profile. This is another one that comes out of Tournament of Power, which we're trying to do since it did just release pretty recently. We're trying to build decks based around more of those cards, just to give you guys an idea of what you can do with the set and incorporate it into decks that already exist. Of course, last week we saw the deck profile that Noel put out for his Goku deck. That is strictly all Tournament of Power. Everything in there is Universe 7. So this is a little bit different. This has a mixture of Tournament of Power and some other cards, but we try to focus as much as we could on Tournament of Power. And this deck has a lot of potential to it, without a doubt. So that is going to be a Frieza deck. Now, one important thing to note about this particular Frieza card is that it does not have access to Cold Bloodlust. It is not a Frieza's Army card. It is Frieza Clan and Universe 7. So no Cold Bloodlust with this Frieza. So let's take a look at the leader card itself. First, Frieza it does have the Warrior of Universe 7, which means that all Universe 7 in all areas count as if they have no specific cost. So the specified cost that we have in cards, well, this is gonna be the first card of the deck, but up here you see how there's one yellow dot, meaning you have to pay at least one yellow energy in order to play the card. Well, on Universe 7 cards, that does not apply. It essentially makes them, for lack of a better term, colorless, but they're not really, because that word doesn't exist in this game. It's more of a Pokemon thing, but it does reduce their required, their specified cost down to nothing, but they still have to pay the total number of energy here in this window. So you can play other color cards in here for Universe 7. All right, now, the activate main on this card is place one Universe 7 from your hand in the drop area, and you can draw 2 cards. Pretty good. I mean, having draw support is always a great thing, especially because its Awaken doesn't draw. When your life is at 4 or less, you may choose up to 2 of your energy, switch them to active mode, and flip this card over. So you still have the draw, and you get to untap 2 of your energy on the Awaken side, which is pretty good. Now on this side, of course, it retains its Warrior of Universe trait and its activate main. Place one Universe 7 from your hand in the drop area, draw 2 cards, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So you can switch anything into rest mode that doesn't have barrier, essentially. And that's pretty good, because if they have a blocker that does not have barrier, you can put that in rest mode and they can't use their blocker. It also prevents them from using cards as combo fodder to get out of attacks. So it's pretty strong. So that is going to be the leader card we're basing this off of. And let's take a look at the deck itself. So I have to credit Noel with this deck. He's the one that actually put this one together. And I really like it quite a bit, actually. I feel like it has a lot of potential. So first and foremost, we have 4 copies of Youthful Bulma. It only makes sense. It's a yellow deck. We play a lot of yellow energy, and early on, you can play this down for 1 and draw a card. So draw support, always a great thing. Going through your deck is very important for consistency. So there's 4 of that one. Also, we have 3 copies of No Openings Son Goku. Now this card is really good for Self-Awakening. You can combo with this card, and you choose, at the end of the battle, you choose up to 1 of your life and add it to your hand. Now, since your leader card is also yellow, you can play this card in rest mode. So it's really good in general to help awaken in most decks, but since we have a yellow leader, we can actually play this card as well. So you combo for 1, because it does take 1 energy to combo. It gives you 10,000 power. Say you attack with leader, you combo with this, pay the 1 energy, and then afterwards, you put it in rest mode and you take a life. It's pretty good. So we play 3 of those. We do have other ways to self-awaken as well, but this is a really good way to go, especially if your opponent's trying to starve you out of awakening. All right, now this is going to be our main focus of the deck. This is the combination that we're gonna wanna pull off more than anything else. The deck does have plenty of other options, but this is the main attraction. So we're gonna start off here with 4 copies of the 5-drop Cold Hearted Strike Frieza. Now, remember, this is also Universe 7, so if you happen to have another color energy down, those 2 are not even necessary, but, you know, it does take the 5 energy regardless. This card has dual attack, and whenever you play this card, you may place 1 Universe 7 from your hand in the drop area. If you do so, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. So you can ignore barrier and switch them to rest mode. So even like blockers with barrier, cards with barrier in general, you can switch them to rest mode. Barrier doesn't mean a thing. Those cards cannot be switched to active mode during your opponent's next charge phase. So they stay in rest mode. That's pretty huge, actually. So they stay in rest mode and they don't go back to active. That's really good. So this Frieza alone is really good, but this Frieza also has access to an EX Evolve that's even better than that. And we saw evidence of this card being played and doing very, very well already. I say already because I'm filming this a couple of weeks in advance. But we saw on the release day of Tournament of Power and the next day, success with this card. This is the 7-drop Frieza Emperor of Universe 7, super rare from Tournament of Power. Its EX Evolve says, you pay 1 energy, place 1 Universe 7 from your hand into your drop area, and you can evolve a Universe 7 Frieza with an energy cost of 5 or more. Well, this has 5, so you're gonna evolve that into this. It has Triple Strike, and if your leader card is yellow, your opponent's counter skills and non-keyword auto-activate skills cannot be activated unless they place 1 card from their life in the drop area. So basically, anything other than comboing, regular comboing, not super combo, regular comboing, they're gonna have to pay a life to negate it. They're gonna have to pay a life to use a super combo card. You can just essentially combo and not have to worry about it. But they take that life and put it in their drop. So that's huge, because if they want to negate the attack, they're gonna have to do that. And it's got Triple Strike, so you're probably gonna want to negate it and just take the 1 life, and basically a 1 life critical to negate it. Yeah, it's huge. And that means every card that they play. Ouch. Like, play 2 super combo cards. Sure, go right ahead. Take 2 life, put it in your drop area. Like, holy cow. This card is insane once it gets pulled off. And we do play 4 of them for maximum consistency. Not to mention, these cards are Universe 7, so we can pitch them with Frieza and draw 2 cards. And we don't even have to worry about throwing them away because we have a card to get them back. We play 4 Agony of Hell Frieza. Oh man, I'm so glad this card has playability. So it's a 2-drop. And when you play this card, choose up to 1 of your Frieza in the drop area and add it back to your hand. So if you pitch these early and you need to get them back, well, all right, pay 2 energy, put this out in the field. It's a 10,000 power attacker with 5,000 combo for free. Just get the Frieza back. I mean, that's really good. Not to mention, if you don't have to worry about throwing these Friezas out and you pitch these instead to draw, you can use them. I mean, there's still pitch fodder for that as well. We have a lot of Universe 7 potential here to activate the draw power and also to activate our EX Evolve. Now, next up here, we have this card. Now, I have 4 of these. Right now, I actually have to proxy 2 of them because we don't have enough of them for both decks. I forgot to take the ones out of him before take the ones out of Noel's deck before he profiled, but that's okay. Universe 7 Representative. The permanent says this card gains Universe 7 in all areas. So this is pitch fodder as well for Frieza to draw. It's also pitch fodder for this. The activate main says, look at up to 7 cards from the top of your deck. Choose 1 Universe 7 among them and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, yeah, it's a Universe 7 card, gains it in all areas. You can look for a Universe 7 and add it to your hand out of the top 7. That's pretty good too. But like I said, do play 4 of them. I'm proxying 2 at the moment. We need 2 more. Apparently, when we helped out our friends with some of the stuff that they needed, it turns out that they took more copies than they should have. But that's okay though. We'll probably still get more. We've got some more packs to open at the time of filming anyway. So we'll get them regardless. They're not that expensive. All right. Now, since we have a yellow leader, everyone's favorite overpowered super combo card comes into play. Grand Priest Lord Shugesh. So Shugesh, we already know what this does. It's completely busted super combo card. If your leader card is yellow and your life is at 4 or less, gains 10,000 combo power for the duration of the turn, then choose up to 1 Saiyan in your hand with an energy cost of 3 or less and play it. Oh man, this card is so good. All right, so we want to awaken, we want to use Shugesh, and we have some targets that will really help this deck out a lot. Now, we already have a decent amount of ways to get energy untapped after we tap it. We've got the awaken side of this, and we also have, oh, I don't know, Preface of Recovery Son Goku 3-drop. It's got barrier, and when you play this card, choose up to 2 of your energy and switch them to active mode. Doesn't matter how you play it. You can just put it down and get 2 energy retapped. So what you could do This combination is really common as well. If you've already pitched a Frieza, you go, all right, I'm going to tap 2 for Agony of Hell Frieza, right? Attack with something, leader, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then Shugesh, Preface of Recovery, untap the 2, and you have your energy all back again that you just spent on Agony of Hell Frieza to get your other Frieza card back. And if you're trying to put down the 5-drop and you have 5 energy, you've tapped 2, you're left with 3, you're untapping the 2, you've got all 5, tap all of them, Cold Hearted Strike Frieza. So it's a really good combination. Great Shugesh target for sure, and it helps you get that energy back. Now, this Goku, even though it does have Barrier, it does not have the Universe 7 trait, so it's not any use for anything else. You can't pitch it for any reason for draw or to EX Evolve, but to get the energy back is definitely a big thing. So that is one Shugesh target. We have another Shugesh target in the form of Explosive Spirit Son Goku. We got 4 of these. It's a blocker with Barrier, and when you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO that card. Also, if you play it down early enough to matter, at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode. So you could actually, one thing that I like to do sometimes, because you are able to bring it back to active at the end of the turn, a lot of times I like to attack with this, and I'll use Shugesh to make it 20,000, just to make sure that I have something to put back into active mode. A blocker with Barrier is huge to put back in active, so you can still get that 20,000 power by attacking with this and using Shugesh to put something out, like the Preface of Recovery, or another Explosive Spirit, or this next card we're going to be looking at as well. But this is really good, because at the end of the game, when your opponent thinks that they can attack you and combo out, let them combo out, and just Shugesh this down. You're basically just gonna blow up the card that they just tried to attack with, and that ends the battle. All that comboing that they did was for nothing. So that's a very common occurrence with this style of deck. All right, so the last Shugesh target, I'm pretty sure this is the last Shugesh target. Yeah, this is technically a Shugesh target, but you don't wanna use it after you've already awakened. You just wanna use it to awaken. So even though it is a target, you don't wanna do it. So the last Shugesh target here is Focused Mind Son Gohan. Now this is a card with Barrier as well, and activate main, not the auto, but an activate main. Look at the top 7 cards from your deck and choose up to one Universe 7 among them. You may play that card by paying its energy cost, then shuffle your deck. So let's just say you're at your 5 energy, you're like, oh man, I don't have Cold Hearted Strike Frieza. I don't really know what I'm gonna do here. Let me just attack with leader, and then I'm gonna Shugesh this out. Look at the top 7. Oh, there we go. Cold Hearted Strike Frieza. I can pay the energy and put it down. So it's a really good searcher, and it's a way of getting a card in without having to dig too hard for it. So that's really good. And you put this into play with Barrier. I mean, it's always great to have a card with Barrier out on the field anyway, because they can't do anything about it for the most part. Unless they're playing this and they can put it into rest mode and, you know, then they can KO it. But otherwise, really good. All right, so these are your Shugesh targets. We have a way to get Shugesh back as well. We have 3 copies of Trunks Power Overseeing Time. It's an Overrealm 4, and you have to pay 2 energy. So another strategy that you can do here as well is you can Overrealm 4, pay the 2. You can get Shugesh back from your drop, because it says here, when you play this card using Overrealm, choose up to one battle card in your warp and add it to your hand, and it has double strike. So you can play this down, tap the 2, Overrealm 4, get the Shugesh back, attack with this, Shugesh down, a Preface of Recovery. You've put these into play now, and you get your 2 energy back again. That's another thing you can do as well. So you can do it with Agony of Hell, pull that combination, get your 2 energy back. You can do it the same way with this Preface of Recovery, get those 2 energy back, and you've now put down this double striker that you've already attacking with. You've Shugeshed this down with Barrier. So you're putting cards out on your field, you're setting up a board presence, and you're basically not paying any energy to do so. It's pretty busted. And if you're Shugeshing with this, it turns it into a 30,000 double striker. Yeah, it's pretty insane. So there's that. The next card here. Now this is where we were kind of discussing what could go in these 2 slots, because these 2 slots are kind of, I don't know, they're kind of hard to fill. But ultimately, this is what we decided on. This card right here, 2 copies of Full Power Spirit Bomb Son Goku. It's a 5-drop, it's got double strike, and when you play this card, draw a card and choose up to 1 of your energy and switch it to active. So you pay 5, but you get 1 back. And you also get to draw a card. And its activate main says, choose 2 cards in your life and add them to your hand. The card gains 10,000 power for the duration of the turn, making it a 35,000 power double striker. It just costs you 2 life to do so. If you're being starved out of being able to awaken, this is another great way to self-awaken. But again, this only happens at 5 energy, so by then, you know, most of the time you're awakened. But the other upside to this is that it's also pitch fodder for drawing with Frieza, and it's also pitch fodder for evolving the 7-drop, evolving into the 7-drop from the 5-drop. So again, these are kind of iffy cards, but I feel like they're still pretty good as they are. All right, now let's take a look at our extra cards. Of course, we're playing yellow deck, so we are playing the 4 copies of Flying Nimbus. Great counter. You negate the attack, place 1 yellow card, and then you may place 1 yellow card in your hand in the drop area. If you do so, your opponent can only attack 1 more time with battle cards for the duration of the turn. So if you're playing a deck that has a overwhelming board presence, they can attack with a battle card, you negate it, they can attack with their leader, then they can attack with 1 more battle card if you pitched a yellow. Otherwise, the other thing that's fun is that if they make the mistake of attacking with their leader first, you can negate the attack, and then they only have 1 battle card that they can attack with. A lot of times that can really swing games back into your favor if they've gotten out of hand. So Flying Nimbus, excellent card. Definitely a 4 of. Next up, we're back to playing 3 Crusher Ball because, again, we're talking about decks with overwhelming board presence. A lot of times we can buy ourselves some time by using this card to counter their play, and their battle card gets played in rest mode. So Crusher Ball is kind of making a little bit more of a return with all of the board presence that's coming into play with the way the decks are being played going forward. So 3 Crusher Ball, 4 Flying Nimbus, and we have 2 Bad Ring Laser. Just in case they negate 1 of our attacks, we can just Bad Ring Laser, counter their counter, place a yellow card from your hand in the drop area, and negate their counter. So what's also entertaining is if you pull off the combination of this. You attack with the EX Evolve 7-drop Frieza, and they're like, man, I can't take a triple strike. I'm gonna negate and take the life, put it in my drop. And then you can go, oh, okay, here you go, Bad Ring. You've negated their counter anyway, and there you go. So it's great. But anyways, guys, that's the deck. I feel like it has a lot of potential behind it. There might be some ways to tweak it here and there, but overall, this seems like a pretty strong combination of cards. A lot of synergy here, and a lot of ways to pull off your combinations. Universe 7 Frieza definitely is a much better leader than we originally thought it would be. A lot of people were saying the tournament power cards were going to be really bad, but it seems like we've got a lot of good cards coming from them, and definitely underrated. So we're going to see how this deck does next Thursday against Noel's Goku deck. Hopefully, hopefully it's not too bad. I know that his only losses were against actually the Frieza deck, and he built this for me to profile for you guys, willingly knowing that there's a chance that he might get beat again. But in any case, we at least get to show off a couple of decks from Tournament of Power that you guys have not seen yet. And that part is the most important to us and also exciting as well. So hopefully you guys like this deck profile. If you do, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe for more content here on the Mafuba Jar, and we will see you guys next time. Take care, and you have been released.